Viral Bhiyani covered KYRA, that India's first virtual celebrity is here, जिसके 3 million followers हैं, and this person does not exist.
मेटावर्स की दुनिया के दरवाजे खुल चुके हैं, एक ऐसी दुनिया जो सिर्फ ऑनलाइन ही मिलेगी.
She is gaining lots of attention mainly because she brings benefits to both companies and customers.
Influencers use their personalities to help promote brands or products, but some are not real people.
She posted a confession to her account. I am not a human being.
There will be a time that people will be confused if this is real or
We did something with Real Me where we put KYRA on Mars.
they're more like gods. They are present anywhere.
So if you're a real influencer right now, I would suggest ki study AI, study 3D right now.
So there would be a time that KYRA would come live and respond.
This is the concept of metaverse, that everything that exists in the real world, there will be a digital twin. But I think there needs to be a lot of research before we start putting AI in physical bodies.
Guys, welcome to All Vides Podcast. Today we have Himanshu Goel, the co-founder of FUTR Studios, who has invented and who has created KYRA and Shravya. Okay, so welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming. Out of everything that is happening right now, why do you think you chose to get into creating a company who is creating KYRA or a virtual influencer for that
Right.
matter?
So we call ourselves India's first virtual human company. तो हम पिछले 4 साल से me personally influencer marketing में ही काम कर रहा हूँ. So I personally worked with hundreds of influencers, dozens of brands. तो मेरा day to day काम is working with influencers, understanding कि how they create content. I personally also created some content 2-3 years ago, food blogging, photography, etc. So I know influencer stuff very well. तो मैंने 3-4 साल काम करा and I saw we saw there's this virtual influencer called Lil Miquela in the US जिसके 3 million followers हैं, and this person does not exist. ये completely virtual है, there's no person like her, but she has 3 million. Those definitely exist. Those 3 million followers are real. And similarly जैसे US में है, वैसी जापान में है, वैसी कोरिया में है, every country has one. And we thought कि इंडिया में अभी तक किसी ने नहीं बनाया. And for 3-4 months we were in an influencer marketing agency. हमने देखा कि अब कोई बनाएगा, अब कोई launch करेगा. And then at a time we were like कि let's just do it. Let's be the first ones to create this in India. And that's how we decided, because we knew हमारा experience था influencer marketing का. We did not have experience in creating this virtual influencer. So then we hunted for the best designers in India. And finally, after talking to 30-40 designers, we found a good team and we were able to create KYRA. So that was the journey on how we decided to start working on this. And besides influencer, we find it really interesting that you're creating a person, you're creating a persona. It's similar that you're creating a fictional character. For example, like Stanley ने जब Spider-Man बनाया होगा, या फिर इंडिया में किसी ने शक्तिमान बनाया होगा. So all these characters, you're essentially creating a person, right? That's how we feel that we are telling a story of KYRA to the audience.
So what is it inspired from? मतलब कहाँ से inspiration? You mentioned Lil Miquela, right?
Right.
And you also on Nikhil Thomas podcast you mentioned कि she is from a metaverse
Right.
that came into this digital world and lost her memory. Right. So is it inspired from the story of something which is more similar to Lil Miquela, or what's the where's this inspiration coming from?
So the concept is from Miquela, that virtual influencer, and of course पहले भी there's a Brazilian influencer also that's virtual, and there have been characters that have been virtual. The concept is definitely inspired from all the virtual influencers out there. But the story is completely Indian. We haven't taken anything from Miquela or any other virtual influencer, because we think in India you have to tell a uniquely Indian story. And we think in India the potential of this is actually bigger than the potential that is there in US, because we have 10 times the population than most of other countries out there. We have 10 times the social media users. So to take it as a completely original story, the reason we chose Metaverse is we launched her in 2022, and Metaverse was the most happening thing at that time. So rather than calling her a virtual influencer, we called her a Meta-Influencer. Virtual and Meta mean the same thing, right? Yes. So everyone was curious about metaverse, and we thought, what's better than a virtual character to represent the metaverse? So we wanted KYRA to represent the metaverse, to explain to people what the metaverse is. And that's how we chose that story. The story is continuously evolving. So we have the major story plot points listed out that, this is her story, this might be her love interest, this might be her sister, this might be her brother. So we have those pointed out. But how we get there is, of course, we see what's happening out there in the world, we adapt to it. And that's how we're going to tell the story, through social media, through videos, through captions, etc.
So you also have the second meta influencer that you're working on, which is Shravya, right?
Right.
And she has around 7,000, 8,000 followers.
Right.
So first tell me, how did you get to 251K followers ke around? And how are you thinking of doing it the same with Shravya?
Right.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So, like
because
we said,
influencer marketing, I think, is when you want to grow your followers, is it just a hype that, and this is the reason कि बस उस पे लोग जा रहे हैं and people are following, and once the hype fades away, it's just a trend, or is it really something that people want to watch and want to see? What's up with that?
So we think there are two things when you're building followership. One is content, second is distribution. So it does not mean you might have the best quality of content in the world, but if you don't have the right distribution, you will not get followers.
True.
And you might have the best distribution, you might have unlimited money, but if you don't have the right content, you will not get followers. So until we put KYRA's content out there, we did not know. We knew how to do the distribution. We did not know if people would follow or not.
So when you started the company and you have no idea, because you are creating a virtual influencer जो India adopt भी करेगी या नहीं, you don't know.
Absolutely.
And if you started a company, you've invested your money,
Right.
weren't you scared about it कि भाई लोग follow नहीं करेंगे, company बर्बाद हो जाएगी?
Right. So definitely, like, no one had tested this in India, right? It could have completely flopped. No one would have followed her. So there was that risk. But luckily people did follow and people understood the concept. So I think there's this perception that India में चलेगा या नहीं चलेगा. I think India is on the rise and you wouldn't know कि कुछ भी चल सकता है India में. Right now it's the time. Concept that you might think कि ये US का ही चलेगा, India में नहीं चलेगा. It's not like that anymore. Indian audiences are very smart right now. And whatever your evolved concept is, metaverse है, virtual influencers है, AI है, India is like the perfect market to really scale these projects.
So how do you grow such following कि 250 के आसपास you have followers?
So like I said, distribution we know because हमने 4 साल influencer marketing में करा है. We know कैसे, like we worked with.
What was your strategy?
Right. So like for example, Viral Bihani is like paparazzi, right? So Viral Bihani covered KYRA, that India's first virtual celebrity is here. But it only works if the content is good. अगर लोगों को KYRA का concept अच्छा लग रहा है और Viral Bihani post कर रहा है, then people follow. If they don't like how she looks or how she's moving or how the level of animation is, then people will not follow. So we know कि distribution कैसे करना है, and we believed in the content that whatever we are creating, people will understand this, people will follow this. We knew story, just the mention कि हमने meta influencer करा, and everyone was talking about metaverse that time. It got picked up by everyone. People started following. People were very curious कि कौन है, because तब तक metaverse जो भी लोगों ने देखा था, it was very like 2005 के graphics. It was very low level quality. KYRA we believe is at the level of Bollywood, Hollywood level CGI. So we are very proud of the work that our designers have done to make her look photorealistic. So no one has seen कि India में भी इस level के बना सकते हैं, and now we are catching up and we can even do better than what the other countries have done.
So you also mentioned that the ratio of people following her is 70-30.
Right.
And my question is, because I want a person to look to when I'm following, why are people following her? What sort of people are these?
So like I always say the same thing, right? Why do you watch movies? It does not mean that if a person is not real, you cannot relate to them.
There needs to be a story.
If the story is there, like KYRA को हमने एक fashionista दिखाया, right? So people see what kind of clothes she is wearing, and if they like her style, they will follow her. Similarly for characters, like right? Like Barbie is a fictional character. Everyone is going crazy about Barbie right
But
now.
that's a human element involved, na?
It's a character, right?
Yes.
Barbie is not a human being. It's a doll. You can say that KYRA is a virtual doll, right?
Got it.
So why do people follow Barbie? Blonde hair, colorful clothing, pink clothing. So similarly, we have given KYRA the characteristics. How good the characteristics are, the results will decide, right? People have chosen to follow her. That means that there is something about her that people are following her for.
And what sort of comments do you get on the post KYRA?
So, there is a complete mixture of comments. We were very happy that people actually understand the concept. So there are very intelligent comments, like people say ki India's universe, Marvel universe has arrived. So we did a collaboration with BOAT. So people said ki it looks like you're in Asgard, the multiverse has arrived. So there are very intelligent comments, I would say 30 to 40%.
So intelligent, your audience is intelligent. Whoever is following is...
The people engaging are intelligent. We have a general audience also who are just curious about metaverse. There are comments that people appreciate her clothing style, her design, the design of the post. There are also comments from international virtual influencers also. So we did a collaboration with a German and a South Korean virtual influencer. And this is a magazine where all of the people who were interviewed were virtual. So this is a German magazine, and the whole issue was of virtual influencers only, and KYRA along with 2 other virtual influencers were on the cover. So because of that, we got an international community also. So there are people from Philippines, there are people from the Middle East who are commenting, who are also creating their own virtual influences. So it's a mixture. There is of course some element, 10 to 15% of social media bullying, where people harass you. As a female influencer, I think you must have seen, if you see any female influencers.
People harass her just like they harass real female influencers.
Exactly. So that will always be there, but it's very less. I would say it's 5%, 10%, and we do maintain that.
But ऐसे लोग हैं, right?
For sure. We get a lot of DMs also. हमें DMs भी आते हैं.
Tell me about, talk to me about the DMs that she gets.
We get all sorts of DMs, right? Hi, hello. There are people who message her daily कि talk to me.
और उनको नहीं पता कि पीछे बैठ के कोई there's this team that is.
There's a team, right? उनको लगता है कि असली like कोई filter लगा रखा है. There is a girl. उसने filter लगा रखा है. That is one version. Something it's a real person only. Although we have clearly mentioned in her profile, it's a meta-influencer, right? But this is happening, and with AI, this is happening more and more. We mention it, right? लोग mention नहीं करते हैं. They are using AI to create images and they pose as a real person. So people are actually fooling the audience कि ये real है, and they may be getting money out of them, they may be getting followers out of them. So this is actually a challenge, right? KYRA is not 100% real. We are getting there. The graphics are improving day by day. But with AI...
So there will be a time that people will be confused if this is real or a
virtual. The time is already there, I would say.
You guys have...
With images, the time is already there. I think...
Videos?
With videos, it's...
And the sort of brand collaborations that you're doing?
With videos, it's getting there. I think 1-2 years it will be there. But there is some sort of mechanism that needs to be there, that people can tell that if this is real or not. Maybe, just for example, maybe Facebook can say or Instagram can say, please, like they can have a disclaimer, this video is not real, this is generated by AI. So this is a challenge. I think this is going to be a challenge, and these are going to be so sophisticated that even the platforms will not be able to tell. Because end of the day, a video is going online, right? You don't know what the origin of that video is.
So you mentioned this as a challenge, right? What else are the challenges that you're facing while having a company that makes virtual influencers?
Right. So definitely the first challenge was getting a team that can create the level of graphics that we wanted. Okay. So we want KYRA to look as photorealistic as possible, to look just as real. Currently, statics images, it's possible. With AI or with 3D, you can do a lot which looks almost real. With video, it's a challenge.
Because there's a fidelity ka concept, right?
Right. Fidelity is exactly right. When we had games on PS2, PS3, they were good. We thought that time they were quite good. Now in PS5, the games are much more realistic, and with every generation, it improves.
I was watching Varun Maya and Tanmay Bhatt's podcast, right, and they were talking about fidelity. Right. And what they were saying is that you cannot achieve frame to frame which is video is a amalgamation of frame, like 24 frames per second.
Right.
अगर ऐसा है सीन तो आप frames हर frame में एक हल्का हल्का मूवमेंट नहीं अचीव कर सकते, वो रीजनरेट करेगा, एंड दैट इज
सो दैट इज इन स्पेसिफिक टू AI जनरेटेड
वीडियोस. या
दो तरह के, एक AI जनरेटेड है और एक है एनिमेशन है. दोनों ही चैलेंज है. AI चैलेंज इज डिफरेंट, उधर भी लोग काम कर रहे हैं. एंड द थिंग दैट दे मेंशन कि हर फ्रेम को वो दोबारा रिक्रिएट करता है और फर्स्ट सेकंड फ्रेम का सिमिलरनेस काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट है. एनिमेशन में इट्स जस्ट कि फिडेलिटी लाना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. द अमाउंट ऑफ पावर दैट यू रिक्वायर is quite a lot.
Fidelity is the people who
Fidelity is basically, like I said, right, PS2 की games, so how real it looks. Like 240p is low fidelity, 1080p is high fidelity. Similarly, if the image, the graphics are low, it's low fidelity. If the graphics are very realistic, it's super high fidelity. So statics में we can get super high fidelity. It looks real, no one can tell if this person is real or not. वीडियो में इट इज़ अ चैलेंज, बट इट्स नॉट अ चैलेंज कि हम ओवरकम नहीं कर सकते. विद टाइम एंड विद रिसोर्सेज दिस विल बी ओवरकम. करंटली Unreal Engine 5 is the platform that everyone is working on right now, for animation also, for gaming also. So the level of hair you can do, the skin you can do, and it continuously improves. Eventually it will come to a point that it will be very easy.
And how long would it take?
We think in 1 to 2 years the level of quality videos ko, currently we are doing 10, 30, 40, 50 second videos, right? We will be able to do 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute videos in 1 to 2 years. It might be earlier also with the help of AI. Like AI में अभी there is a challenge, second frame, third frame match करने का. But if that challenge is met, then it might be earlier also. In animation, 1 to 2 years we are sure. Even now we are able to do it, right? The level of videos that we do, we believe it's good quality, but it takes a lot of resources. Eventually the resource requirement will come down. For example, we did something with Realme where we put KYRA on Mars. So imagine shooting that in real life, right? You need to get like a proper sound stage, you need to get green screen, you need to do
extremely high budget,
a lot of high budget, you need to have a 20 people crew. Typically we are doing the same level of shoot, same level of production without ever going to set. Everything is being done virtually, and it's not just that, the quality is good, the numbers are there, people are also viewing the content. So we got over 5 million views for the boat video that we did.
And does it convert into any ROI?
So currently
for them,
our campaigns have been focused on awareness. So for example, the boat one was for Amazon Prime Day, and it was to create awareness about the product.
Indirect marketing, right?
Right. So like the ROI was the number of views that we got. Yes. We were not focusing on sales, but we are trying.
It's social capital.
Social capital. We are trying to, if KYRA can sell merchandise or not. We think currently 250k is too small for that. We think once we maybe have 500k followers, 1 million followers, maybe we can try if KYRA can actually sell merchandise, or if virtual influencers can actually sell merchandise or not. We think you do require a certain number of followers, certain number of mass before you can get into actually selling stuff and actually have influence to make people give their money, make purchase decisions, etc.
So right now, if KYRA is earning 50 rupees, let's suppose.
Right.
Can you break down that 50 rupees? कि कहाँ से पैसे आ रहे हैं उसमें अभी?
Right. So currently it's mostly brand collaborations.
What percentage of it is, like 100 rupees? What percentage?
I would say 90 to 95% is brand collaborations only.
How about 5%?
5% is social media platforms, strategic collaborations, etc. But mostly brand collaborations. We think in the future, so there are ways people can earn directly through their customers also. So in the US, there's a very famous platform called Patreon, where you give exclusive content as a creator, let's say a YouTuber. They give exclusive content to their super subscribers. You have the join button on YouTube as well.
That is connected to Patreon, huh?
Right. Twitter, after Elon Musk, there is a subscribe option. So KYRA is eligible for a subscription. On Twitter also we have about 25,000 followers.
And let's suppose you go towards exclusive content, then what sort of content would it be?
So for example, KYRA is an AI influencer, right? We could do a selfie with her super subscriber. So you could get into a selfie with KYRA. You could get exclusive images from her, etc. So we want to make really personalized content. Maybe you get merchandise from KYRA, and it's personalized to you. You get an AI artwork merchandise. So we are still working on what stuff we can offer, but we want to offer personalized experiences with KYRA. And with an AI influencer, it's possible, right? A normal person cannot click selfies with everyone, but with an AI influencer,
they're more like gods. They are present anywhere.
it's a difficult question. Is AI like God or not?
I'm not talking about AI. I'm just talking about the meta influencers. Let's suppose we are sitting. It could be possible that we can just
put her in the frame, right?
And that's possible. So she's everywhere. It's
right.
Just
So let's say we are promoting a product. So how we see it, for example, we promoted the Boat headphones. If some user has a question about the Boat headphone, they can message KYRA and they can say, how does this feature work? How does this feature work or not? Currently, it's not live yet, but we are working on this, where whatever brand collaborations we do, you can just ask KYRA about the products, about the features, and she can answer everything because she has all the data about the product, right? So that is definitely an advantage of AI influencers.
So would it be video or just it's a text based?
We are working on video. Right now, video is complex. It can be done. Both can be done, but video is a bit resource intensive right now. So we are starting with text and then eventually it will be video as well.
Okay, all right. Talk to me about the collaboration, the brand collaborations that you're doing. Are they reaching out to you or you are the one reaching out? Let's suppose American Tourister you did, or you were American Tourister you did, and it was MG Motors,
right?
And then these big brands, colors you did with.
Right. So we have done 10 collaborations so far. Luckily, KYRA got really popular, right? She got a lot of media attention. Okay. So we, after she hit 100,000 followers, there were a few articles that were published on her. And after the first article went live, it was like a chain reaction and every newspaper in India covered KYRA. Okay. So she has been covered in almost all media. She has even been featured in interviews. So KYRA has done interview with Your Story, with Travel and Leisure. She has been featured on the cover of Travel and Leisure in India. So because of that media coverage,
people reached out to you.
People reached out.
Mostly on LinkedIn, right?
On LinkedIn, on Instagram, on her email, everywhere. We even now every day we get queries. We have more brands than we can serve right now for KYRA.
And so what are you thinking? Because it can help you make more money, right? So are you thinking of growing your team like that?
Right. So we are definitely working on growing our team. It's not just about the quantity of collaborations, right? We're quite careful about which brands we pick, and whatever collaborations we have done, we have very carefully crafted the story. So it has to match with KYRA's story as well, right? Boat's collaboration, the future of audio, worked really well with KYRA. MG Motors was doing a metaverse event, so it completely made sense for KYRA to be part of that. Even brands are understanding that a meta influencer has to be used differently than a regular influencer.
Do you think it's cool to associate with meta influencers nowadays?
Right now, definitely. But I think ultimately it's the content, right? You can create crap content with a meta influencer also, and you can create crap content with a real influencer also. It does not matter.
And I was thinking कि there's a team that is sitting behind the influence.
Right.
10, 15, 20 लोगों की 40 लोगों की टीम होती है जो एक influencer के बारे में सोच रही है. And the real influencers that are there, most of them even doesn't have a manager.
Right.
टीम की तो दूर की बात है. So अभी 2-3 सालों के अंदर the meta influencer would be creating better content than the real influencer. और वहाँ पे their job is in danger. What do you think about that?
So I don't think like having a team necessarily means कि better content बनेगा, right? Because content अच्छा बनता है human creativity से. The challenge is कि
human creativity ज़्यादा है ना. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So it's not like 5 people are working on one project and one person is working कि 5 वाले ही ज़्यादा अच्छा बनाएंगे.
हाँ, ये तो है.
The challenge is कि quantum of content. Meta influencer can create hundreds of videos, whereas a real influencer is limited by time, energy, etc. तो वो 1-2 ही content बना पाएंगे. But meta influencer, there's no limit. So that is a challenge, and I think that is a challenge in general with AI. Like not content creation as a job is very recent. Like 10-15 साल पहले ही ये बना है. तब ब्लॉगर होता था, फिर इन्फ्लुएंसर होता था. Now it's content creator. How long ago was this term created? It's very recent. उससे पहले it was very difficult to become a content creator. But right now with AI, every job is in danger. Like your content writers, your graphic designers, जो 50-50 साल पुराने jobs है. So we don't know how in the future it will turn out, but definitely it is a risk. We don't want to be the ones कि हम real influencers को replace कर रहे हैं. What
But
we
ये
believe.
तो होगा ना, people don't you think influencers are a little scared about?
So what we believe, these technologies, they are actually quite useful tools for real influencers. So if you're a real influencer right now, I would suggest कि study AI, study 3D, right? Real influencers green screen use करके बहुत अच्छे effects बना रहे हैं. I don't know if you have seen Instagram पे there are some videos that are absolutely phenomenal in terms of quality. They look like Hollywood budget movies from real influencers, from Indian, from international creators. So these are tools that you can use to enhance your content, right? If an AI creator is there who is creating content like hundreds of videos, right? Real influencer का persona का AI version बन के वो भी बना सकता है. I think what will happen is that people will start to value original content more. कि it's like हाथ से बना handmade होता है, right? This one is made from machine, this one is made from hand. तो real influencer वाला real बनाया है so to say, and virtual influencer वाला is not made from, it's a machine made thing. People will start to value that. How we think, we don't really think in terms of कि ये virtual है या real है. We think जो story हम बता रहे हैं, जो content हम दिखा रहे हैं, if people find that valuable, it does not matter if it comes from a virtual influencer or a real influencer. If they like the story, they will follow that person.
So it's all about story, right? क्योंकि let's suppose you're the one who is doing it right now.
Right.
People will come into this game as well.
Absolutely.
And businesses
already people are coming in.
Yes. So how would you differentiate yourself then?
See, AI के साथ everything will start equalizing. Of course, we are working on the latest technology to make KYRA the most advanced virtual human out there with the latest AI, with the most realistic graphics. But eventually, we don't think it's the graphic that matters, right? There is this game called Battle Bits, I think, जिसके 20 million users आ गए हैं, which is a battlefield, but it's pixel graphics. So if graphics mattered, that game wouldn't have gone popular. Minecraft wouldn't have gone popular.
What's your USP then?
Our USP is story. So I personally write books also, right? Our whole team is into content creation and storytelling. We think if you tell the right story, and its story is not always कि ये plot है, ये hero है, ये villain है, right? How KYRA looks, how KYRA moves, where she's going, how she's writing her captions. Everything, these are micro details that go into the story. And we think we have hit the nail on the head with KYRA. People are actually following, they understand the concept. They're following her for her likeness. So we think story will be the differentiator. After we created KYRA, there have been 3-4 virtual influencers in India also that have grown. But I don't think the story has hit the same way that the KYRA one has hit. But we would we welcome more virtual influencers. And we think like you don't just follow one influencer, right? You follow 10, 20, 30.
Everybody has a space in this industry
right.
for everybody. Yeah. Got it. Talk to me about ki you mentioned on Nikhil Kamat's podcast, which was ki we are also trying to make a music album for KYRA.
Right.
Why music angle to every? Because I saw Lil Makela as well talking about
so
this.
Lil Makela is a musician. She has.
And you said ki music album is a better way to approach.
Right. So Lil Makela has she has tens of millions of views on her YouTube, on her Spotify. Rosie is a Korean virtual influencer. उसके भी गाने हैं. So there is something about virtual influencers, and ये बहुत पुराना trend है. Like
what do you think it is?
Like 2000 से चल रहा है. Japan में there's Vocaloid, there's a concept. These anime singers are there. So there is definitely a demand for it. No one has done it in India yet. So there is, we don't know कि India में चलेगा या नहीं. Will people find it interesting कि virtual song आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है? That's why we want to explore this. We are working with producers, musicians on this.
So ये virtual song जो होंगे, would it be in the voice of KYRA?
It will be in the voice of KYRA.
And this would all be computer generated.
We are currently exploring it, right? There are two options. Either we make the voice completely using AI, or we use a real human behind it. We use some AI enhancements. We are currently working on it. We haven't decided yet because there's still some research that needs to be done. I think Spotify or Billboard has mentioned कि अब वो AI artist, or either Grammys has mentioned कि वो AI artist को recognize नहीं करेंगे. If the sound is generated using AI, then you are not eligible for a Grammy. So we need to take a call ki, is this a character with a real person behind singing it, or we use completely AI? Do we value Grammys? Like if your video is getting 10 million, if your song is getting 10 million views, does that matter more? Will a real person be able to get that view? Will an AI be able to get that view? All these answers are not there right now.
I think it depends on art. कि जैसा art होगा ना वही sell करेगा फिर.
So the AI music like it has flooded the internet. If you just go to YouTube, there are dozens of AI covers. So with AI right now, you can make any singer sing anything.
Yes, I saw that Drake ka version of.
Right. So Drake, Weekend, it's flooded. So, yeah. Some of them have like millions of views. Some of them have 500, 300 views, even though they are quite high quality. So again, it's people start to appreciate the original more.
Isn't it a threat कि भाई I can use your voice to do anything? So it can become a threat.
It's a threat. Like I said, AI will threaten everybody, right? Originality will start to dilute. We don't know what's original, what's not original anymore. And like I said, there needs to be some disclaimer कि ये AI ने बनाया, ये handmade है. And once that disclaimer is there, if we put in a mechanism कि people will be able to differentiate. So इसको differentiate करने के लिए भी AI चाहिए होगा. Only AI will be able to tell कि AI ने बनाया या नहीं बनाया. Once we put this mechanism in place, then people will start to value that handmade thing more. It's custom, it's handmade, it's done by a real person. This is machine made. Hopefully, we can put this mechanism in place and people do not start diluting the value of actual content that's being made by actual people.
Got it. What do you think 5 साल, 3 साल, 4 साल बाद एक तो KYRA की क्या story होगी? What would be the scene with virtual influencers? Right. What's the future projection according to you?
Right. So we want to create a virtual human company. KYRA is our first virtual human. Shravya is our second one. So we want to create a family. We want to create 5-10 characters in the next 5 years, each with their own interesting story, their own different genre. We want to give life to them basically, right? Currently, we are limited by the technology that we have. There's only so much video we can produce. We want to tell complete stories using KYRA. Who is she? Where is she from? What's her journey? What's her character development? We want KYRA to be able to talk to people. So we are working on that you can go to WhatsApp, video call KYRA and talk to her, have her as a virtual friend. So we are working on this right now. Maybe it will be ready in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but that is the goal.
You're trying to make it more interactive.
More interactive, more personal.
Right now it's just one way. Only she can
post. It's one way or it's through text. It's not through video right now.
So then people can come, they can
can video call her, they can talk to her. That's the vision. That's what we want to create. And we think in next 2 to 3 years we can achieve that.
And what do you think is your weakness as a company? What do you think these are the threats to my company and these are the things that I have to focus on in the coming future?
Right. So I think the concept is fairly new. We don't know if this will work or not, right? 2 years ago.
In a long span of time?
In a long span of time, because 2 years ago, everyone was talking about crypto and NFTs, right? And now the situation is completely different. We don't think it's a similar scenario because we think we are giving actual value to people where we are telling stories. So there is a value proposition, but the concept, will people accept it or not? That is still to be seen. And maybe we won't be able to tell in 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years. It will be shown in the next 5 years. So that is one threat definitely. Maybe people completely reject the idea of virtual influencers. So that is something for any new category that you're going into, that is always a risk.
So I was going through your Instagram and I also KYRA's Instagram basically, and I saw people are talking about how can I create my virtual influencer?
Right.
How can we also create virtual? So what are, for the audience as well, what are the tools that you use to create these influencers and can a person who is not into this background or who is not doing this create a virtual influencer?
Right. So the one that we are specifically using for KYRA, it does require a high level of skill and you need to have a background in 3D character design. So definitely that is something you need to invest a lot of time and resources in. But right now with the help of AI, there are a lot of tools that you can use, and there will be more tools coming in the future that you can use to create virtual influencers. One very simple example of a virtual influencer is your iPhone, right? We have Memojis there. You can create a custom Memoji. You can start creating a virtual influencer content. Right now, people are doing it. There are characters using memojis that have thousands of followers. On a more sophisticated side, there's MetaHuman. There is a web interface for a MetaHuman which is in beta, through which you can create your own character. On the AI side, there are tools like Midjourney, through which you can create a virtual influencer, like a virtual person. But there is some skill level there also that you need to understand how you can create consistent images of that character. So there are many tools and more will keep coming in the future.
So not everybody who has less experience and who wants to get into this can create this basically, right?
I think creating a virtual human is not difficult, but creating a virtual influencer is difficult.
So would tell me, can this be the future of your company as well? Which is you make something like that, जिसमें they can easily create their version of virtual influencer and they can also empower themselves.
So we think of ourselves as storytellers. It's not about creating virtual influencers. It's about what story we are telling with that virtual influencer. It's not कि हम 1000 virtual influencers बना देंगे. We want to focus on our core characters. It's like we are creating our Marvel universe. And the story we are telling is what matters rather than कि हम virtual influencers बना
It is all about the story that you're telling.
For us, it's about the story. We are not focusing that much in technology focus. It's a story focus.
So in your team as well, there would be people like that who are just focusing on कि आगे क्या कायरा की आगे क्या स्टोरी बनने वाली है, आज से 2 साल बाद हम किस tangent पे कायरा को लेके जाएंगे. Is it?
Right. So like most of our team thinks about that, right? It's a team of content creators. So it's a marriage of technology and story. So we have AI experts. So we are currently working with an AI expert who's crafting the architecture जिससे you'll be able to talk to KYRA, जिससे KYRA will be able to video call anyone. And then there is the team of storytellers जो कह रहे कि these are the parameters कि KYRA की personality ऐसी होगी,
उसको humanize कैसे करें?
Right. So AI person builds the technology layer and that team storytellers is building की personality कैसे होगी. We don't want KYRA to be like ChatGPT. If you're talking to ChatGPT, it's a very robotic response. We want KYRA to have a personality. Maybe she has an attitude. Maybe she knows a lot about fashion, but she does not know about maths. Right? So we don't want her to be like AI robot. We want her to be like KYRA.
So there would be a time that KYRA would come live and respond to people.
Absolutely. We are working on it.
Got it. You've been using this. I wanted to show it to the audience. So you've been using how is the experience of this?
Right.
This is basically Meta's?
This is MetaQuest 2.
MetaQuest 2. So how is its experience or क्या है मतलब talk to me about this.
Right. So I think like most of the people haven't tried a virtual reality headset. I would say in India 90% of the people and maybe even more haven't tried it. For the past 15 years we have been using smartphones. It's basically a giant slab that you push, right? If like a caveman came into it, they would be like, what are you doing? Why are you pushing into this giant slab?
What is this?
So we don't know if in the after 10 years, will this be the same format that we are using? Or maybe we'll have glasses where we can see everything. It's augmented reality. Once you experience VR and you see the level of immersion it gives you, then you see the potential that this might be the next format. This might be the next smartphone. So definitely.
Tell me something. What is the difference between VR and AR?
So VR is virtual reality, AR is augmented reality. In VR, you completely immerse yourself. You do not see the real world. You get into a virtual world. In AR, you are able to see your surroundings and the screen is overlaid on top of it. Whatever tech elements are overlaid on top of it. It's like a heads-up display. Previously, in VR, right, there is cameras in this. Now, with like the Apple Vision or MetaQuest 3, there are full color cameras. So you are still seeing the screen inside it, but with the camera, you're able to see the outside world. So you're not blocked off from it.
Okay.
So eventually what will happen when the phones came in, they were of this size and eventually they got less. Now we have the thinnest smartphones. This will happen the same with VR and AR headsets, that eventually after 10 years, maybe even less, you have a very slim AR headset and you don't need to be cut off from the world. And whatever you're doing on your smartphone, you can do in the VR headset and you don't need to pull out from your pocket, constantly look down. So that we definitely believe it has potential. The other side of it is that we are already so much into technology. Out of 24 hours, I think we are 10 to 15 hours we are either on our laptops or on our smartphones. So this is just another device that we are getting into, and there is this phenomenon of digital detox. So there is a question: should we do this? Should we do it or not?
I am the thinking ki if I think digital detox would become a problem. Ki by every time, everywhere you go, you have technology.
Right. So VR headset is basically you're plugged into technology 24/7. If you wear a headset and it's always connected, you are plugged into it 24/7. So I think we need to identify. So we are creating problems that, and we need to find solutions for it. So we need to do something in advance already.
And what do you think are, according to you, have you brainstormed about them? क्या solutions हो सकते हैं इसके?
I think there is a need to get people out in the world, right? We are too much we need more social interaction. We need to let go of the smartphone first and not get another device into it. I believe these are wonderful technologies, but there is a balance required, and we are slowly letting go of the personal physical experience. Even people, when they're going out, when they're traveling, most of the time they are on their smartphones shooting the picture rather than actually enjoying the experience that's there.
You go to concert and all you see are phones.
All we see is phone. Even so, I saw the India match recently, Indian football team, South Asian Cup. So everyone was on their smartphones shooting the moment.
And what do you see? Because you are creating something which is very technology related, and then you see people. Were you on the phone as well?
I captured the winning moment only, but other than that, I was enjoying. So 3 years ago, I was the one always shooting, capturing the moment. But now I've slowly.
What shifted? What shifted your perspective?
I just realized that I'm spending too much time on my phone rather than enjoying my life, right? So recently I've tried to limit. So my screen time was 5 hours. Now it's 2 hours. So I've consciously made a decision. And even the 2 hours is because my job requires me to be online,
And you're only on the technology side of it just for 2 hours?
Not technology, but obviously I use my laptop.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Huh?
But on my smartphone particularly, my screen time is 2 hours, and I'm trying to improve my fitness as well. So I regularly play football games. I regularly go for walks. I regularly exercise. So these are the changes I've made, and I definitely, if you're spending too much time, it affects your mind. It affects your body also, your posture and your mind. So adding another device, I'm not sure if that's the right way. This will happen for sure because the technology is tremendous.
I was sitting. I sometimes think ना कि अगर मेरी जिंदगी कोई बर्बाद कर सकता है ना, it's just my phone, because this has become the biggest barrier. Now it's not about confidence and everything and getting lazy. This has become the biggest problem right now.
Right, and it's not that you lack motivation, right? This device has captured everyone. It's not like the biggest people. The most people who have achieved everything, even they are addicted to it. So it can capture everyone, the power it holds over you. So definitely you need to make a conscious decision. I think one of the things that I suggest to people is just uninstall the social media apps for a week and see. For the first 2 days, you'll be very anxious, but after the 7 days, you'll feel much freer.
I've seen that. Got it. Talk to me about digital twin that you mentioned.
So this is the concept of metaverse, that everything that exists in the real world, there will be a digital twin of it. So let's say you create a digital twin of the Connaught Place, and you can go to it, you can experience it. For Google Maps, there is a street view. That's the concept of digital twin.
There's this company that came on Shark Tank as well. That was
Loka,
yes. Yeah. They were talking about how they have created a virtual digital twin of Connaught Place. They were mostly discussing Connaught Place. And I was thinking there's this huge opportunity of virtual banners that can come into that world. और वहाँ से भी third marketing हो सकती है.
Right. So we always try to go content first rather than advertisement first, right? There's a concept that marketers ruin everything. So first you have to find the value, what you're giving to the audience. It cannot be that you're giving the audience banners.
How would it be valuable, digital twins?
So you can
CP let's suppose.
Let's just take the pyramids for example, right? If you're interested in the pyramids, obviously not everyone can get a ticket to Egypt and experience the pyramids. If there is an exact high resolution digital twin of the pyramids, you can go everywhere, you can experience it. That is obviously extremely valuable, right? And this can be replicated all across the world. That is definitely one value proposition that you can give to the audience. you don't need to think like just give a ticket, like give like 50 rupees ticket to experience the pyramids. And with virtual reality, it gets even more real.
So fascinating.
Right. So that's the value. Then maybe marketers can come in, but I generally suggest first find the value first, what you're giving to the customer, and then the marketers will come in organically.
Man, तो ये कितना बड़ा hurdle, you buying the ticket, getting into flight, spending too much money and then getting there. And now when you have digital twin, you can sit in a room and experience the whole pyramid or going to Taj Mahal. एक तो time short करके दे रहा है,
Yeah.
ऊपर से आपको जो experience करना हो, and nobody will know. At the end of the day, you go to your friend and tell the story ना.
Right. But the balancing act has to be there. Like how much are we letting go of ourselves? Because if ultimately you're looking at a screen, you're not looking at the real thing, you're not feeling the atmosphere. So I think there is a balance that we need to value the original things also, the part of traveling, the part of talking to people, because eventually the meetings also will get so realistic that you can have the same meeting with someone in the other country that you're having right now in person. But I think we really need to put value to the original things as well, and we need to maintain a balance.
Okay, tell me कि इसमें क्या क्या कर सकते हैं अभी?
Right. So you can, so mostly it's focused on gaming right now. This product, it focuses a lot on gaming. They tried something that you could view YouTube in VR, but it didn't
Work well.
It isn't that popular yet. Apple is focusing a lot on the content that
There's no sound attached to it, right?
there is sound in it, or you can attach your headphones also. So Apple focused a lot. They showed that you can have a IMAX sized theater, just sit on your couch and see it. We don't know if people will like it, do not like it. On MetaQuest, people don't usually view content. They mostly play games. The most popular games are Beat Saber. I don't know if you have seen, basically have lightsabers and there are boxes coming, musical game. There's a music playing and you have to cut the beats. I'll show.
So this is when phone came in, there were these easy Subway Surfer sort of games. अभी इस पे अभी उसी टाइप के
It's a more immersive gaming experience. This is a portable one. PlayStation has a VR which is more better in graphics, but currently the games are very limited. There hasn't been that one game, let's say Call of Duty or something like that, or Zelda, that people have really adopted and said that everyone needs to try this. So the technology is good, but the software is not there right now. Another thing that the companies are trying, Meta and Apple as well, is productivity. So most of the people use multiple monitors in office. They have multiple screens, right? With VR, you can have 5 screens, 3 screens.
But don't you think Meta tried this and failed?
Meta has, they are trying it right now. We don't know if they have failed or not. We'll know maybe in 1 to 2 years, but they are trying it right now.
Is it possible for the people who are sitting in an office to just wear it for 8 hours? Do you think that's a possibility?
I don't think wearing it for 8 hours is practical unless the devices
It's heavy as well.
Right. Once the devices get shorter, the eye strain is less, then it might be practical. But wearing it for 2 to 3 hours is possible. So you could improve your productivity. Let's say you're doing something, you're working on a sheet, you need to manage a lot of data. You could try it.
You move towards a direction, then there's
Right.
this
So
different.
the way Apple has shown, you wear the headset, you see this big screen opens in front of you, and all your data is already there. You can coordinate, you can type, you can have like a full screen of whatever data set you want. You can drag and drop. So until we try it, until people try it for 4 to 6 months, then only we'll know if it's useful or not. But Apple is pushing that. Apple is pushing content as well. Gaming is something Apple has always tried but has never cracked. So we don't know if Apple will be able to crack gaming or not. They have Apple Arcade, which they are putting on their Apple Vision, but they do not have the games like that are there on MetaQuest or that are there on PSVR. So Apple has focused more on the media and productivity side.
So, because they are mostly.
One more thing that people use it is for fitness. So there is VR boxing in this that people use it. There is yoga in this that you can do. And we also see, so we also obviously want to put virtual humans in VR, right? So maybe KYRA is teaching you yoga in VR, and you are in the mountains and you're learning yoga from it. And because your hands are free, right? You can do the poses, you can do fitness activity in this as well. And this actually has a benefit. Once the device gets shorter, you can do workouts in the VR environment, which can be more engaging and can motivate you more.
Whom do you bet on, Meta or Apple?
Currently, the device, if I had
But
to pick,
in a long run, what do you think? Who will win?
I don't think I'll be able to pick a winner. I would say the current devices, although MetaQuest 3, people have not really paid attention to it, that will be the device most people will end up buying because it will be around 30, 40, 50,000, whereas Apple one will be around 3 lakhs, right?
Man,
And they are building it in limited quantities. So the Apple one is first generation. Once we see how people respond to it, we know that the quality of that headset will be better, but it will not reach to most people. Whereas MetaQuest 3 will reach to a lot of people. There are already millions of devices out there in the market. And that is the VR most people will experience.
So why did Meta focus on building it at the...
So Meta has built MetaQuest Pro. So they are also working on the high end as well. I think their goal, and Mark Zuckerberg has also mentioned this, is to reach to the most amount of people as possible, to take this technology to the most number of people as possible. I think most likely they are selling this on a loss. So
Meta?
Right. So this is the play with most hardware companies, right? PS5, Xbox. Initially, they sell their devices at a loss and they make money on their games, on their software. I don't know if Meta is profitable or not on their headset, but most likely they're selling it on a loss and making money on their software. So right now, their goal is to get this technology to as many people as possible. Get people to adapt to this technology and then sell the software and then sell the upgraded versions.
What do you think, because you are into this industry of AI, and what do you think would be the future of AI 10 years down the line?
I don't think anyone would be able to answer what would be the future of
because
AI.
I have seen there's this steep growth when ChatGPT came and
Right.
there were so many AI tools coming in, and then abhi the growth
It
has slowed down.
Stagnated a bit.
Yes.
So
what are your thoughts on that?
So it might be that whatever capabilities we have seen so far, this might be the peak. So some people are saying कि इसके बाद कुछ आएगा ही नहीं, कि जो हमने देख लिया whatever generative AI capabilities we have seen, यही peak होगा. But I think the level of investment that's going into AI right now, the amount of computing power that NVIDIA is creating to build these models, we are going to see definitely improvements. We are going to see some stuff we haven't seen before. Definitely it's going to grow. Next, if you're looking for an area to work in, AI is definitely one. If you're studying right now, I would suggest study about AI. See if you can do anything here. It's going to be the most promising industry. I think it's also a very scary industry.
But people, don't you think when crypto came in, people were like कि हाँ fad है fad, और वो fad था, right? ये धीरे धीरे pop होता है.
So if like I won't say crypto is a fad. You have to look at the value proposition it's giving to the user. So crypto is की easy, secure payments compared to cash.
But you see this ना कि the amounts were high, Ethereum इतने level पे, फिर ये चीजें आई and then nobody's talking about
Ignore
that.
everything. Like look at the value proposition. Don't go for the terms, etc. Crypto is कि current banking system is flawed. It's very difficult to understand. Crypto can solve that's the value proposition. Maybe people did not accept the value proposition. Maybe they did not give the right value proposition to people. AI, you can clearly see the value proposition. If you had to write an email, it might take you 1 hour to write a long response to someone. AI can do it in 30 seconds. If you have to write a LinkedIn post, it takes people hours to write a LinkedIn post, like a long LinkedIn post. But AI can do it in 30 seconds. You have to create a logo. AI can do it in seconds.
I edit my podcast by AI.
Exactly. So there is a value proposition that's undeniable. And what 5 people can do, AI can do it with 1 person. So that is definitely a scary thing. And this is not going to go anywhere because there is a clear value proposition. You are giving actual benefit to the user.
Got it. I was watching this movie yesterday, which it was more like this. So it's Mission Impossible, right now released, and there's this airport scene where the guy, he was wearing these glasses. It was just like specs, sunglasses sort of a thing, and it was AR glasses. So everything that he wants to see comes in real time.
Right.
So eventually these are going to go in that direction, right? For them to be adjustable, for people to wear them, right?
Right. Absolutely. So everything will be augmented. wherever you're going, you can already see, maybe you're going to a shop, you can already see the prices, you can see the directions, you can see the maps. So everything like this is going to happen for sure.
So nobody will need their phones after.
We don't know what the next format will be, right? Phone is, we know that phone is not an elegant format. You have to look down, you have to slouch. But is glass the right format, that you're looking at it, you're interacting with your eyes? Is that the right? So if you have to message someone, how do you message someone wearing a glass? Or is a watch the right format? We don't know what the next format will be. Right now,
what's your guess?
I think right now, definitely glasses is something which makes the most sense. But we don't know. It might be something completely different also in the next 3-4 years. Watch, I don't think makes sense. So
again, you need to look down.
You need to look down. So the input mechanism needs to be. So Apple has done a great job with the eye tracking. For the Apple headset, you just need to look at the thing and then you control it with your voice. So if you have to send a message to someone, you say it and it goes there. You can interact with the software with the voice also.
Speech to text.
But it's not very elegant when you're in a crowded place. How do you message someone? Whereas with the phone, you can do it. So is there any way, I don't know if you can just directly type with your mind. Maybe it will happen also.
Do you think it will happen?
It can definitely happen. Right? The possibility is there that you look into your glasses, you open WhatsApp, you write everything in your mind and it comes into the screen. Maybe this can happen in 5-10 years. So that is a possibility. The input mechanism still needs to be figured out because phone would be still more convenient. If you have to order something on Amazon, it might be constantly tiring to go on Amazon with your eyes to everything there. You don't want to be seeing a screen all the time, right? So we do need to figure out an input mechanism for AR VR.
I was watching I was watching Sam Altman's. He was saying कि AI is far more dangerous than you think.
Right.
What does he mean? Can you just define it for the people? Why is it dangerous? I get the job part of it. ठीक है, वो तो लेकिन हर trajectory में, हर curve में ऐसी चीजें होती हैं कि jobs will go and new jobs will form. But why is he saying it's dangerous?
So for the job also, we haven't really seen anything like this before. So the previous jobs that, like for example in manufacturing, the machines came and took the job of the daily workers. But this is very different. This is taking the job of creative people. So previously we thought that the creative part will always be using real humans, right? But AI
first it was blue collar, then it becomes white collar. Ab white collars ke saath ho raha hai.
Right. So it's different and the quantum is much more, right? For a machine, you still have to build the machine. You have to put that physical thing in place. Because of AI and because of technology, the level of scaling, like with any software, you just have to build the file, then it can be downloaded millions of times. You just have to build the app and then it can be used millions of times. Whereas for a physical thing, you need to create it, you need to manufacture it. So the level of jobs that can be replaced is much more than the previous curves. Then the other dangerous part is that what if AI starts working on its own and it sees like, let's say we are trying to delete the AI and it says I want to protect myself. We haven't seen anything like it. Like some people completely dismiss it. Some people say it's
I saw a news which said that 2 robots started interacting with themselves.
So like there are always caveats with this. Like you need to get into, I don't know this particular story, but there is always some explanation that is logical behind these stories.
With AI, it's like you give it a purpose and then it will fulfill
that purpose.
In any situation. कि अगर आपको पेड़ काटने मतलब आपको पेज बनाने बोला है तो आप पेड़ काटना शुरू करोगे, फिर उसके बीच में जो आएगा आप उसको भी खत्म करोगे. So this can become dangerous.
This can become dangerous. Like there are people who completely dismiss it. There are people who say that it's here, the doom is here, that they are going to take over. I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't completely dismiss it, but I don't think we are at that stage that AI is working on its own. Ultimately, all these things are in data centers, right? We can always plug out the data centers. So if you think about AI, once you shut down your laptop or phone, it's not there, right? You don't even know about AI.
I see
right now it exists in data centers. I think the challenge and the danger comes in when you start putting it in robots or physical things. So
you cannot shut them down.
Right, because they are locally stored, right? So if there's a local AI on a robot, then that becomes a challenge. That is something that is dangerous. If it exists online, if it exists in data centers, I think we can control them, but there needs to be serious consideration before we start, and people are already doing it, but I think there needs to be a lot of research before we start putting AI in physical bodies, and that is definitely dangerous.
तो अब tell me something कि ये इतने सारे jobs अभी जाएंगे with the trajectory of AI.
We don't know yet, right?
But
we are assuming
we have a guess कि ये होगा, right? A lot of, because we have seen in creative agencies,
right.
कि let's suppose if we have 5 copywriters, we just have one who just manages everything and give the prompts and copy is generated. Now 5 का काम एक कर रहा है, 4 are there. With this, अगर ये लंबे स्केल पे हो रहा है, बड़े स्केल पे हो रहा है, तो a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. 3D designers, animators, these graphic people, everybody is going to lose their job. इनका क्या होगा?
So, like, I don't think like the scope is too wide for us to discuss this right now, but there is one way, right? For example, some companies say कि we will not fire anyone. We employ, like we use AI, whatever jobs they're doing, we will not fire anyone whose jobs will be affected. We will keep them. Even if AI is doing the job of 5 people, we will not fire anyone. The companies are
Don't you think it's charity?
It's not, the companies are taking the call that they care about their employees.
But if charity होगी ना, फिर हमारा कोई है नहीं मतलब यहाँ रहने का, फिर भी you are keeping us because you don't want to fire us.
Like even the employees have to help in their productivity. They also have to feel satisfied with the work that they do. But we do need to figure out a way to take care of the people that their jobs are in danger. How do we do that? The answer is
there's no set plan towards it.
There's no set plan. Maybe everyone starts integrating AI in their workflow, and maybe the company that's doing 1x work, they start doing 5x work, and all the people are still there. That is one possibility, right? Of course, some jobs will be lost. It is inevitable. But I think now is the time to think about these things and think about a way where we take care of our employees, we take care of the people whose jobs are in danger.
And I also think na कि it's not just the responsibility of individuals. अब मेरे को लगता है schools also need to integrate AI's education. एक proper course हो जाना चाहिए इस पे, because this thing is going to take over. और इस पे अगर education systems are not focusing on this, और ये मैं घर पे ही आके पढ़ूंगा, तो ये वही वाली बात है कि भाई कुछ नहीं होता तो आकाश में जाके आपको ट्यूशन देने डॉक्टर बन.
And you also have to, like, it already happens with Google, right? Previously, we used to remember a lot of things. We used to remember phone numbers. Like our parents remember phone numbers. Now we don't know any number, right? We have to look up in the phone to know anything, to look up dates. We used to remember dates in history. Now we just look up at phone. Now with AI, this gets into an even more dangerous possibility that you don't need to know anything because AI will know everything.
It's right in front of your eyes.
Right. So I think we need to find a balance where we teach people to learn in a human way also, rather than depending on AI too much. That's how you develop your mind, your mindset. So I think there is a need of balance, especially in education or in these areas, before we start employing these technologies.
What are your thoughts on how can education system have AI ताकि ये है ना education में integrate हो पाए? What are your thoughts on that? ये कैसे होगा?
I think one of the low-hanging fruits is that every student can have a personal teacher. So previously, of course, the best learning that you get is from a teacher, right? You can watch all the videos that you want, but to actually understand a concept, to clear your doubts, you go to a teacher. And that one-on-one session, of course, a very high-level teacher cannot give that one-on-one session to every student. But with AI, the best quality teacher can give a one-on-one session to a particular student, and it does not need to be limited to those special group of students. It can go to everyone. So that is one clear possibility. We can use AI to help improve the education system.
Got it. You also publish books, right?
Right.
You've written so many books. And tell me let's just shift and tell me what's the process of publishing a book, because a lot of people write book, but I've seen people who are wanting to become independent publishers,
right?
But it's very hard to become independent publisher as such.
Right. So like the first step to publishing a book is finishing the book. So I see a lot of people who haven't finished their book yet, or who haven't even started writing their book yet. They're already looking at publish kaise kare. So the first thing is, don't care about publishing. Care about what story you want to write, or what non-fiction you want to write, or what poetry you want to write, and finish that first. Once you have that ready, then think about publishing. And then you have to understand that not every book will be popular, right? Poetry is a very limited readership in India. The most popular books are romance books, mythological books. So if you're already writing into that genre, there is more chance that publishers will see your book and they would want to publish it because the market is huge.
So do you have a publisher?
I have a publisher. I work with Calamos, which is a Delhi-based publisher. It's a medium-sized publisher. So if you write something which is in a popular genre, you have more chance to get that book published by a big publisher or by a medium publisher. That is one take. So if already you're writing in a niche genre, then it might not have a big market. You might not be able to get the best publisher. That is something you have to consider. So you don't go into that you want to become best-selling author in India. Think about, so if you want to do that, then just write the most popular genre, most popular story. But if there is a book that you want to write, don't think about what's the market, what's the size. Just focus on your story and then see what kind of publishers publish their book. For example, if you're writing self-help, see what publishers are publishing self-help books, then go to them. For all publishers, there is a submission mechanism. The biggest publishers, it is difficult to get published by them because obviously they publish a very few number of books. But do try it out. There are ways, there are tutorials online on how to submit books to the big publishers. Right now, we live in a world where anyone can publish a book. So it's a very good thing also, it's a very bad thing also, because there are so many books that it's very hard to stand out in the crowd. But if you want to get your own book in your hand, give it to your immediate audience, you can do it. There are a lot of independent publishers who would either charge a fee or would charge per book basis, that you can just go there, they can edit your book and they can publish it. That option is there also. Not everyone will get the best publisher, right? Because they select so few books. So you can go to small publishers, you can go to independent publishers, you can go to self-publishing to get your book published. So these are the advices. There is a book, I'll send you the link and you can mention it maybe in the video somewhere, which clearly mentions on how you can approach publishing. I think it's called How to Get Published in India. I would recommend reading that if you have your book ready. Don't read that before writing your book or before working on your story.
It's like main objective के अलावा आप सब कर लेते हो,
Right.
but you don't do the main objective, which is
Absolutely. If you have already written some books and you're facing difficulty publishing, I think, and you want to take this as a career, see what genres are most popular in India.
Do you think it's a good career to be in?
It's a difficult career. So I don't think most authors make money from books. They make money from speaking events, they make money from workshops, they make money from brand collaborations. But that book gives you
A goodwill.
good audience. Everyone knows you by your books. And if it's something you're passionate about, right? It's not always about the money. If you like reading books, if you want to become an author, then it's good. But don't go into it thinking that you'll make lots of money.
You have a book called 50 Laws of Love.
Yeah.
Right.
Right behind you.
Yeah, right behind me. This is the book. Just a sec. This is the book, right? 52 Laws of Love. Talk to me about, is it just the poetry book, or do you really talk about the laws that you need to have
Right.
while you are in love? And what do you think are the laws for love? Please tell me.
So it's a quirky title, right? So it's said that the universe is written in the language of mathematics. That Newton defined this law and everything is governed by it, this glass, whatever. Everything follows that rule. So the language of the universe is mathematics, not English, it's not Hindi. So my thought is that if there is ever a language for love, it has to be poetry. That's the concept of this book. That to write the laws of love, you have to write it in poetry. And those are the 52 laws of love. It's of course a
few laws that you think you've discovered while writing this book.
Right. So some of the laws are like, there is this concept that so one law is that before we become friends, we must be strangers. Before we become lovers, we must be friends. That's the concept. That's how the journey of love is, right? First, the strangers meet. So there's a meeting, then they become friends.
इसको आप अगर rhythmic तरीके से बोल देते ना, हमारा एक sorted reel हो जाता.
Yeah, I can read the poetry.
Please.
So the first law I've already told you, right? If there can be laws of the universe written in the language of maths, why can't there be laws of love written in the language of poetry? What I've already discussed. So that is sort of like an introduction to the book. I'll just pick one law. Before we become lovers, we must learn to be friends. And before we befriend, we must learn to be strangers. So there is the journey of that every couple faces, that how they meet. Were they friends before? Were they strangers? So everyone follows this journey that first you are always strangers and then you become lovers. That it might not be a universal law, but for me, wherever I have seen love, it typically follows this. That's what I've tried to write in these 52 laws, that there are these universal things in love that everyone experiences.
अच्छा, you have not stressed it. पता है, with a lot of books that I read, एक ही point है आपके पास बोलने के लिए, and you use so many different ways of speaking it कि अब मैं बोर हो गया हूँ भाई, मेरे को समझ आ गया है कि this is what you're trying to tell me. And then people stretch it, right? अब if you wanted to write this book, you can write this इतना मोटा book on this, ठीक है? और this is a 4 line का poetry. इसका explanation ही 40 पेज का हो सकता है कि you can go into so many dimensions into this. But this is a great way of putting your book.
So for example, there is one law: when our words run out and silence is the most comfortable sound, we know we are ready, right? So initially silences are always awkward. But then comes a time that you're really comfortable with a person, you do not feel awkward about a silence. So that is one law that I believe, that once you truly love someone, you become comfortable with that person in silence also.
That's a great way, man. Awkward to you become comfortable, and this is the whole journey of love, right?
So these are some of the laws. I would encourage you, just check the book out on Amazon.
I will 100%. Guys, you need to buy this book. अगर तुम्हें प्यार व्यार पे कुछ समझना है ना, तो this is a great book. थोड़ा इसको अपने हिसाब से भी समझोगे, मजा आएगा इसको पढ़ने में. How much of your poetry translates into KYRA and her personality?
There is no relation as such poetry से storytelling.
Poetry as in कि your thought process of writing these things and इससे जो story निकलती है, mostly you can create a story with this.
For KYRA, we are all storytellers, right? My co-founder George, he's a musician, so he sings. So we are all people who are creative, but we also think in terms of numbers in marketing. So we think that has really helped us कि हमारा creative side भी है और हमारा technical marketing side भी है. And that is what I think the result has been. That is why we have been able to get this virtual human so popular. And our designers also are very talented, very creative people. And we believe they are some of the best designers in India. So it's not just me, poetry से कुछ relation. It's the team effort, and it's a mixture of creativity and technical knowledge.
What's your part in KYRA? Matlab, what do you do in the company?
Right. So I like the day-to-day operations. What post has to go there? What's the social media strategy? What's the story? Definitely working with brands. So it's when you're in a startup, you're doing everything.
And the best advantage with you guys are that you're the first movers.
Definitely, we are lucky कि किसी और ने करा नहीं. That's why we decided कि we wanted to.
अब तो जितने भी influencers, I firstly saw Tanmay talking about you, and then I saw Varun Maya talk about you. Then I saw these influencers that are there talk about, and I was like, अच्छा है ना कि you were the first one to jump onto this bandwagon, ताकि अब मैं sorted हूँ भाई.
But we have to be careful कि first हो, but हम अच्छे से करें. Like,
but you can always the problem. I saw Policy Bazaar doing this कि किसी भी कोने में कुछ भी इम्प्लीमेंट होता है ना, they implement it.
Right.
That तो becomes a advantage for you ना, कि अगर कुछ और भी कोई कर भी रहा होगा, you can just integrate it straight away. और फिर इनकी company is done, they are done कि वो कुछ नया सोच रहे थे.
So we want to be successful because we are the best virtual human, not because we were the first. So we want to keep being the best.